Hello and welcome to the Goldenrod Podcast, bringing you some of the latest and greatest Pokemon news and a few laughs along the way. I'm Ben, and as always, I'm joined by fellow Pokemon enthusiast Conor. Before we begin, you can jump around the podcast by using the timestamps in the description below. Conor, back to reality yet after 4 amazing days, apparently?
That is exactly how it feels, mate. Honestly, because we were... Now, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Pokemon World Championships happened over the weekend.
Woo!
I stayed round. A good friend of mine, Tommy Luz, was there with Baker Bulbasaur and my editor Lewis. So all 4 of us every single day would go travel up to the Pokemon Worlds. It was like an hour and a half to 2 hour travel each day because we were driving.
Oh.
We were it was 20 miles. We had 20 miles to travel, and it took us like 2 hours because we were driving straight through the center of London. There was an alternate route, which was 60 miles long and only took an hour and a half. But petrol prices being what they are at the moment, you gotta conserve where you can. So it was insane. So we drive up every morning, drive back in the evening, and then obviously we never get a chance to hang out as a group.
No.
Even me and Lewis see each other maybe once, twice a year if we're lucky. I've seen Baker once. It was my first time meeting Tommy IRL. So we were just having a great time once we were home and having laughs. And I think most nights we got like 3 hours sleep.
Oh my god! Oh,
so snap back to reality feels like an apt description. But
so
no. Before we get into any of that,
okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling absolutely amazing, except for my ankle's a bit sore from this ball and chain that's hanging from me, right? That everyone keeps telling me, but apparently my life is over now that I'm a married man. I don't believe that at all, honestly. I think we're very much in the post-wedding glow, the honeymoon period, so to speak. It's just felt absolutely amazing. The wedding was fantastic. It was just great. It absolutely flew by. The speech went down an absolute blast, so I'm quite happy about that. Did our vows, got a little bit emotional at the vows, as you can, it's a big, I can understand why people get emotional doing the vows. My daughter was there, obviously, and at one point I looked over and she was just like in tears. I was like, what's up? She's like, I'm so emotional. I was like, oh, this is so, which of course set me off, seeing my daughter crying because she was so happy. And it was just an absolutely fantastic, I want to say day. It wasn't a day because we got there on the Friday. We stayed over the venue 2 nights. So Friday was setting up some of me and Molly's family, and then my best man and one of Molly's bridesmaids went out for some food, which was quite nice. And Saturday, obviously the big day, which was fantastic. I did set aside an hour to go to the gentleman's lounge beforehand. Probably was in there for about 10 minutes because just things kept happening. Started raining 15 minutes before the ceremony, which was fantastic. But so we had to have it indoors rather than outdoors. But it was still absolutely just a fantastic, wonderful day. Didn't get drunk despite drinking a shed load. But apparently that's not uncommon on your wedding day. It's quite difficult to get drunk because you're constantly putting drinks down, you're intermingling, you're talking. It was just absolutely fantastic day. So we were up at 6:30 in the morning, and we probably didn't get to bed till about 12:30, 1:45, because we had some fire pits outside, which were gorgeous. And I made the mistake of sitting out there. So obviously I was just reeking of smoke by the time I came in. So I had to have a shower and all that. So the Sunday, when we got back on the Sunday, we just chucked everything into the living room. We sat down. I think my daughter was on the Switch most of the day. I was mingling between playing Crash Bandicoot 4, watching some of the Pokemon Worlds the final day on my laptop for a little bit. And then we ordered takeaway because I was just drained. So it was just, the whole weekend was absolutely fantastic, and I could recommend getting married to the right person.
Bless you. Good on you, mate. I'm glad it all worked out.
Thank you very much.
I am really happy for the both of you.
Fantastic. It just feels like, honestly, we were just worlds apart, which brings me on to Pokemon Worlds. Conor, just tell us about how... I'm going to be jealous. Don't get me wrong, I love the wedding and everything, but part of me, I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to, was this a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I missed out on? I don't know.
It's very possible, because, again, this is the first time we've had it in the UK. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the first time it's been out of North America. which is why it's such a big thing that next year is being held in Japan.
Yes.
Because I am 100%, well, I say 100% sure. I'm like 90% sure it has always been held in North America for the World Championships. So the fact it came to London, maybe it's a once in a lifetime. Maybe it's a once in 2 decades kind of thing. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Is this something that happens yearly?
Yes, the World Championships are supposed to happen yearly. Now, obviously, this year has been difficult because COVID happened and it got put off for 2 years. This was supposed to be the 2020 World Championships to celebrate Galar and all the rest of it, but it got put off and put off and put off, and it actually led to a lot of interesting ramifications because of that. So I'm a kid who played TCG, and you have lots of different sections in Pokemon Championships. You have juniors, which is up to like 13 years old. You have seniors, which is up to 17, 18 years old, and masters, which is everybody above that. So there was this one kid who had done all of his qualifications in juniors.
Oh.
And then between the time he'd qualified and Worlds had actually rolled around, he'd aged up into seniors, which is something they generally try and avoid. They'll
I can imagine.
Try and make sure that doesn't happen, but because it's been 3 years since the last World Championships, that's just kind of how it went down. But yeah, as far as like an event goes, it's really interesting because I was put into like a Worlds chat with a bunch of other content creators really early on to kind of like share stories, share news and stuff like that. And luckily for me, Cerebi Joe was in there, the guy who runs Cerebi.net.
Oh, right.
Okay. And I will tell you this, he gave me more information about Pokemon Worlds than the Pokemon Company themselves.
Wow. Okay. That's fantastic.
Massive thank you to that man. He's an absolute legend. I actually got a chance to meet him. I got a chance to meet so many people. So many people.
So you bumped into Dobbs Gaming? Or Dobbs?
Yeah, Dobbs, Wolfie,
I don't know
Ace
who that
Trainer.
is.
Wolfie, he's a VGC player. He was an ex-world champion. You know, Ace Trainer Liam, True Green 7. Obviously got to catch up with Toby again. Got to meet up with Toby's partner, The Last Shaman, who did the artwork for one of my more recent videos. So I was very thankful for her. A bunch of other people as well. I can't possibly name them all. I know Baker was really looking forward to seeing Spraggles, who does a lot of the Unite content on YouTube, and actually to the point where he was commentating Unite. And I'll come on to the commentators later, but there were so many people there. GlitchxCity, who obviously does a lot of the music, even the music on this podcast at the very beginning. GlitchxCity does that.
Her stuff is absolutely amazing. It's so good. I love it.
It was so wonderful meeting all these people, but I can't remember what I was even originally saying about the fact that I don't know. I've got just got so excited and my brain has fried.
I'm not surprised because 4 days lack of sleep, just taking it all in. So I was jumping in and out of watching some of the content, mainly on the Friday. No, the Thursday I watched a bit. No, did I? No. Friday I watched a bit, Sunday I watched a bit, maybe I watched a bit on Thursday, can't remember. And it was just great to see so much content going on, but all we really got to see on Twitch is obviously the people on the stage playing, and then you got to see all the seating areas. So we didn't get to see what else was there other than the commentary and the live viewing area. So what else was there?
So that's what I was getting at. So I was told before going, if you're not into watching Pokemon competition, there's not a lot there for you. And that's kind of true. And yet, we still found so much to do outside of watching Pokemon. So you walk in, there is the Pokemon Center.
Yeah.
Which we'll come on to the Pokemon Center because that's a whole ordeal unto itself.
Right.
You walk through, you've got the main area on the left. So they hired out the whole XL Center. You been to the XL Center before?
I haven't, but I can imagine it is huge.
So it is. They utilize very, very little of it. The vast majority of their stuff was basically in one big room. So you walk into the room and there's tables laid out for miles. Not quite miles, but you get the idea that it goes back and back and further that way kind of thing. And if you turn left, then you see that staging and all the seating that you saw on the stream.
Yes.
Now, on days 1 and 2, this is obviously for Swiss, so there's loads of people playing Pokemon Go, there's loads of people playing VGC, there's loads of people playing TCG all along the tables, judges walking around them. Up towards the top end, you also had side events. So you could bring your own TCG decks, you could play games with people and enter little competitions. We did a lot of what are called build and battle, similar to like the pre-release format where you get basically 2 mini decks smushed together plus like 4 packs, and you try and make out of that the best deck that you can, best 40 card deck that you can, play 3 players. And in a pre-release format, you get packs for winning. In this, they were doing like arcade style tickets. So you got 10 tickets for entering, just taking part, and then 10 tickets for every win. So if you won all your games, you got 40 tickets, and then you could trade those in for prizes and things like that at the end.
Oh, that's ace. Right, okay. Did you ever go with that then?
I played 2 sessions. Baker played 3. I think even Lewis and Tommy, who had never played the TCG before, both got involved.
That would have been hilarious. Just like what am I doing? What's happening? What's going on? And the frustration I can imagine from the opposite players who like really serious building this deck and just going, what am I doing right now?
Honestly, it was a really good environment for it. Everybody was very open to new players.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
You'd see, like, their opponents would be coaching them through the match and stuff like that. Because people know what it's like. Like, I said, I played a kid who had, like, graduated up into seniors. He was there. He traveled down from America, lost A1, so he was just playing in the side events. His dad was there, and he was trying to teach his dad how to play. And we had a great match, me and his dad, and I was coaching him through. So it was really, really just a really open and welcoming environment. And I will say this, like, I was really worried going in because I've heard about these events before. I've heard about, you know, these like conventions and things like that. There's always drama. Something always goes down. Somebody's always revealed to be a real terrible person.
Yeah.
There was none of that. At least from where we were standing, there was none of that. Everyone we met was absolutely wonderful. Everybody, like, you'd run into, you just have random conversations with people, and because everybody's there, they're just happy to be openly Pokemon nerds for a weekend. You are surrounded by your people, and it's such a wonderful place to be.
Wow, it sounds absolutely amazing, and I'm really envious that I didn't get to go this time, but who knows, maybe it'll be a bit like the World Cup moving forward, where they rotate it between, you know, America, Japan, Europe, the UK. Maybe, who knows? I would love that because
that is my hope, at least.
Yes.
So yeah,
I mean, go on. Well, I was just going to say this will have been an opportunity. Obviously, with the tie-in with it being Galar and London, that makes sense. But it's an opportunity. If this did really well, then, you know, it gives them the proof that actually this could work outside of North America. And obviously we've got Tokyo. Is it Tokyo?
It's not Tokyo. It is, I cannot remember off the top of my head. It's Japan, Kanto. But it's not Tokyo.
Johto.
Nice.
Johto. Hey, it'll if those 2 years do well, hopefully then, you know, it rotates that out, and you know, the viewing figures on the Twitch streams were ridiculous, like huge amounts of people, like hundreds of thousands of people watching live on Twitch, and the commentary was really good.
Was really good. Now again, I know a lot of these commentators, they come from like YouTube backgrounds and things like that, so they've got experience in entertainment, but the fact is, Pokemon get in touch with these people and say, look, we love your style, we love the way you present yourself, can you come and commentate? And they are fantastic. They really do make the games.
They do. I I can't remember any of the people that were commentating because I don't follow that scene, but like, it was just like the Pokemon Go stuff was fantastic because they were truly breaking that down in terms of, you know, why certain Pokemon were selected, why they use certain moves at certain times, like the charge moves, why sometimes they wouldn't use a shield, whereas sometimes that they would. They really helped to explain the complexity of the Pokemon Go battle system that I kind of knew was there in some way, but not to the level that they showed in World. And I can understand now why Pokemon Go has its own, format and competition there. Obviously because of how much money and how many players it's got, but also the fact that there is a battle system under there. The finals for the Pokemon Unite series, the commentators were on fire. They were absolutely, when you can tell that they are a fan of the game and the competition there, and you couldn't see them actually commentating. It was one of the rare ones because obviously Pokemon Unite takes up a full screen, whereas Pokemon Go doesn't. So it was a lot easier to kind of slot in the commentators in a video format in the corner for Pokemon Go, whereas Unite you couldn't. But if I could imagine them, I'd imagine them like jumping off their chairs.
They were on their feet.
The mic. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me because it was that final for Pokemon Unite. Did you watch that?
Yeah, no, we watched all the finals. Did you? The last 2 minutes, it suddenly sounds like an auction room. And he's going into this dragon. You're like, wow, this is what I needed in my life. I never knew until now.
It was fantastic. I didn't catch the finals of the TCG or the Pokemon. Is it VCG?
Yeah, VGC.
VGC.
Video Game Championships.
That's the one. So I didn't catch the end of them. TCG is one of them that I tuned in and out of because that was the one I was probably least interested in, despite the fact that I love playing the TCG game. And the Pokemon VGC. I didn't watch the finals, but I was tuning in and out. But it got to the point where you could predict most of the teams. The same Pokemon kept reappearing. Like basically everyone run Groudon, Regieleki, and Grimmsnarl.
Oh, how wrong you are, sir. How wrong you are. The finals went off.
Tell me more. Okay, tell me more.
So I will first off say, like, TCG is probably one of those, like, I have followed this TCG meta quite closely, so I know what all the cards did, basically. It's not a great spectator sport if you don't know all of it going in. They tried really hard to do, like, they'd show a big version of the card on the side so that you could read what it was doing, but you almost weren't getting enough of those fast enough. And it was, I can imagine it being hard to watch. It was hard to watch even for me because, on day one, the screen glare off some of the sleeves were ridiculous, and you just really couldn't tell what the cards were. But by the finals, they'd sorted that out, and I was kind of sitting there and coaching the boys next to me, like, oh, this is what that card does. This is why he's played it. This is what's going on. I was doing my own little commentary along the side kind of thing. But VGC, again, it's a great spectator sport because even if you don't know the ins and outs and you don't know every little interaction, you can still get excited about a crit. You can still be like, oh my god, that did way more damage than I thought it was going to. That's really cool. But yeah, in the juniors, the big standout was the Blastoise G-Max that won. In seniors, the Venusaur G-Max won and lost me a $5.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because I bet Baker, because I said it right at the very beginning, Venusaur's really should be a lot better than it is. It's got access to Sleep Powder, which is really good in the Dynamax format. Its G-Max move works the same as G-Max Wildfire. It sets up like consistent damage over turns, so that's really, really good. It's got Chlorophyll in a format with lots and lots of Groudon setting up the sun. So it should be really good. It's such a shame we won't see it in the finals. He went, I bet you $5 we will. And I immediately thought, well, in the Masters, we'll never ever see it. It won't happen. And it didn't. But it did happen in the seniors. So I will give him that one.
Right.
And not only did it see the finals, it won the finals and carried that team. That Venusaur G-Max went off. It was insane.
Okay. I need to go back and watch the finals of that. I've been saying to myself, I need to go back at some point and watch it.
And then you had Charizard G-Max in the Masters, but that lost. It was the only Kanto starter G-Max to make it to the finals and lose, which is hilarious.
Some of the plays were fantastic.
Some of the plays were great, but the one standout Pokemon of this year that nobody expected to see Gastrodon. Gastrodon is a
that
world
popped
champion.
Up that popped up on one of the ones I was watching, which because it's water ground type, so it has a really unique typing. There's only 2 other like fully evolved mons that have that in Swampert and I always forget the other Quagsire. And like I think people overlook
And Whiscash.
And Whiscash, yes. I think people overlook it, but I'm pretty sure its only weakness is grass type. So if your opponent hasn't got a grass type attack, then they're not landing super effective moves. It like water and ground is an amazing combo and can really cause issues because of the amount of diversity that it has because of it.
It's not even that. You're running it for its ability because it's got Storm Drain.
It got? Oh, okay.
Which in a format run by Kyogre is really important because suddenly your water spout's not doing anything.
It's not doing anything, yeah. The amount of Kyogres that I saw that ran through oppositions when they just couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I dread to think what it was like when you could primal evolve with it. It must have just ran through so many teams. And it was great to see it used to such effect. And I understand now why so many people were running counters in Regieleki. One of the best plays I saw was somebody bought a Shedinja, and I never even heard of this move, but Ally Swap.
Yep.
Fantastic.
I hate it so much.
Now that I know that is it. For those of you who don't know, with the VGC was a 2-on-2 format. So you send out 2 Pokemon, your opponent sends out 2 Pokemon. And Shedinja has Wonder Guard, obviously. So unless you hit it with an attack that it's weak to, it will do 0 damage. And with Ally Swap, you can get to swap places with your ally Pokemon. So if you can predict it right, you can swap it. Their attacks do nothing against you, and basically you've ended up with a free turn. And I saw this one person with it that was just like, they must have had a time machine or a magic ball because they were predicting when to do the ally swap, when not to do the ally swap. It was just fantastic. And I saw somebody that had a focus sash on Shedinja, and then they Dynamaxed it as well, which was a whole other strat. It was just great to see all these different, Pokemon coming out of the woodwork and just seeing how tight some of the battles were. It was fantastic.
See, I remember seeing Shedinja in one of the finals, and again, it runs Ally Switch. It's really, really good for that kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure they got down to a point where, like, their opponent really didn't have an answer for Shedinja. Last 2 Pokemon each on either side. They had a Dynamax Pokemon up, used Max Rockfall, and set up the sand, and took out their own Shedinja.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, did they not? Did they just
literally no idea? But we were sat there going, "What have you done?"
What? Yeah. That would be absolutely just brutal if that cost you, because it's one of those things that you wouldn't live down, would you? You'd just be like, okay, how am I gonna forget that? Did you watch the Pokken tournament?
I didn't actually catch any of the Pokken tournament. So weirdly enough, right? So as I say, you walk in, there's this big room, lots of rooms set up, and you go down into the main area, and there's 4 big screens, right? Set up that you watch from the seating area. There was Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Go, VGC, and TCG. Pokken Tournament, if you walk in through the door, was buried right at the very back in a tiny little corner, and it had like 30 seats for viewing. And that was it. That was it.
Oh,
and it was they did the whole tournament. You did the finals on day 1, and that was it. It was gone.
Wow. That was it. So that explains why I didn't see it. Right, okay. Because somebody commented on, I think it was the last video, maybe the one before that apparently Pokken's been at Worlds since 2016. So it's had 8 years. I can kind of understand why, maybe, because after 8 years, they're probably thinking, okay, we've got this. It's got a small competitive scene. We'll give it some lip service at the Worlds, but that's about it, which is a shame, because if you haven't, you should really try Pokken Tournament. It is a fantastic game to play, especially if you have a friend to play it with. It's good fun.
But it's gone now. It will never be at another World Championship.
Will it not?
Ever again.
Was this it? That is a shame. I'm sure at some point I reckon they'll give it a rest, and then maybe, you know, when the Switch 2 or whatever the game, the console is, and they inevitably bring out a, you know, a Pokemon Tournament Masters DX or whatever it's called. Who knows? Maybe it might make a reappearance one day, and I hope it does, because it's a fantastic game to play.
Yeah, I'm surprised the fighting community never took to it. Again, I'm not a big fighting game person myself. I find them very, very difficult, but it looks fun as far as animations and stuff is concerned. It's one of Pokemon's best. But yeah,
it's a shame, but
such is the way of things.
That is, yes. So what about the Pokemon Center?
Pokemon Center, right. So Pokemon Center was big. Lots and lots of stuff in there. They had lots of clothing from like different designers and stuff like that. They had a whole aisle for plushes. I got to finally see that Arcanine firsthand.
Oh yeah,
and it's so cute and it's so big and it's so fluffy and it's so expensive and I still can't justify it.
How much was it?
It's 400 quid.
Oh my god! How big is this thing?
It's like a 6-foot Arcanine.
I'm on the fence about that myself, even though Arcanine isn't my favorite Pokemon. Having that in the corner would be amazing.
So they had a bunch of, as far as like the big ones go, they've got an Arcanine, a Mareep, a Slowpoke, and they had a substitute.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which it was really good to see just this big fluffy just substitute sat there.
That's amazing. Were they all about the same price?
Ish 400 around S sort of price.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had lots and lots of stuff. There was one thing I was really looking forward to, which was, so they've released these new t-shirts that have like character designs from the game and their main Pokemon on it. So you've got like blue and Blastoise, red and Charizard.
Isn't the one of the hikers from Sun and Moon?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I saw that on Twitter. I was like, wait, what?
Hiker and a Alolan Geodude. Yeah, it's a random pull, but we'll take it. And you got Cynthia and Garchomp and stuff like that. And
yes,
the t-shirts are fine, but they're all like different colors, and I don't really wear much other than like a black t-shirt usually. So, but they did art prints of them, and I was really looking forward to these art prints because, like, I've lived in this house for 2 years now, and most of my walls are still bare. So I really need to fill them out. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna grab those. They had really nice ones that were like old school travel style posters for all the different regions. They have ones on the website. They're not the same. The ones that were there were fantastic. I will upload a photo to Twitter at some point once I've put them all in frames and things like that. But they were gorgeous. So I picked those up, walked around the corner. They had these posters of all the characters up there. I went, hi, where do I find those? I went, no, they sold out yesterday. It's like, it's Thursday. It's day one.
Yeah, yes. How can you let that sell out? Like, that is devastating. Sorry. Ooh.
So what we found out was a lot of the items didn't have limits. So you had the world exclusive Pikachu and Roserade plush.
So you could just go in and just buy as many as you want.
The Pikachu plush had a limit of 2.
Okay.
And the Roserade plush had a limit of 5.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at all. You had like world exclusive damage counters and stuff for the TCG game, which you were allowed one of each. And you had like world exclusive figurine that you were only allowed one of. Everything else, there was no limit.
Oh no.
And the thing is, even though there was a limit, so when we went up there, it was like, oh yeah, you need to book a time slot, and then there's virtual queuing on the day and all this kind of stuff. We went in, our first slot, we accidentally booked 2 slots because we were panicking and worried that we weren't going to get them. So you could book 4 people per slot. I booked 1, Tommy booked 1. So I booked mine at like 5. He booked his at 12. I was like, great, it's cool. We'll go get small stuff at 12 and we'll go get big stuff at 5. We walked in at 12, realized like they'd sold out of stuff the day before the place had even opened. It was like, let's just buy everything now.
Yeah. Because if you don't get it, then you know what's going to happen.
You never know. So we took a look around. Now, so we walked up at 11 o'clock and was like, we got a booking at 12. When do we need to start queuing for? And the guy went, oh, you can just go in now. It's like, all right, we're just gonna.
Okay.
It was a great moment with Baker. He was like, all right, I'm just gonna go get a drink first. He went, no, you can go in now. He went, yeah. I'm just gonna go out for a smoke and come back. And then he was like,
no,
you can go in now. And he was like, all right, now, all right, yeah, let's go in now.
Brilliant! Oh my god!
So we walked around. We all grabbed our stuff, and we decided, we'll go back at 5 anyway. And so much of it gone. Already just gone. They had all the sitting cuties, which they had loads of, but even a load of the bigger plushes. Like I bought a Yamper, that had gone.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh wow.
Baker bought a Bulbasaur, like this really big, oversized Bulbasaur, which was only £70, which we were very surprised at. But the staff didn't seem to really know what they were doing. He turned around to one person and went, "Have you got any Bulbasaurs in?"
And they were just like, "What?"
Yeah, they went, I don't know what you mean. It was like, a Bulbasaur.
No,
I don't know what that is.
Some of these people that work there, they'll just be, 0-hour contracts for a company. It's like, right, okay, you need to be at this place working this till for, whatever days and time. And for some of them, they'll just be like, it's money. I have no idea what Pokemon is. Or they'll be like, I know what Pokemon is, but I don't know what the different Pokemon are. And it's just a job, isn't it, at the end of the day for them? Which is fair enough.
It wasn't great experience. No. Because he went to like 4 different people. It was like, oh, do you have a Bulbasaur? I don't know what that is. Do you have a Bulbasaur? No, we sold out. Do you have a Bulbasaur? No, I think we sold out. Do you have a Bulbasaur? Yeah, I've got one in back. And it's like how do you not know these things? I get there's a lot of people in here and there's a lot going on, but you've already broken down your own method of queuing to keep this organized. And I will say it got to the point later on because we went on the Thursday. Now, a lot of people didn't show up till the Saturday because it was only £10 for a weekend ticket.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So people were like, well, screw it. I'll buy a weekend ticket and go on the weekend when I can get time off work and things like that. Most people aren't like us and aren't mental and want to go for all the days. So Saturday was so much busier than all the days before it. And the Pokemon Center just weren't prepared for it because they'd already broken down their whole queuing system. They hadn't practiced it. They hadn't kept it up. So by the time Saturday rolled around, there was no world exclusive flushes left. They'd all gone because you could effectively just walk up and go, yeah, like we walked up at 5. In fact, no. So we went at 12, we went at 5, and we came in the next day and went, should we go have a look and see what's left? And that's when we walked in and walked up, and the guy was like, have you got a booking? I was like, yeah, let me get it up. He went, no, it's fine. You told me you've got a booking, go in. And that's when I realized, I'm like, well, you've put a limit of 2 per person.
Yeah.
But that's 2 per person per trip. And if somebody can go in, go to their car, drop some stuff off, join the back of this non-existent queue, just walk in again, they had no plushes left. All these world exclusive plushes were just gone by day 2.
That's mad. That's unacceptable. It really is because I know from Game Freak, well, it's not Game Freak, sorry. From the Pokemon company's perspective, it doesn't make a difference who buys them because they will still get the same amount of money. But they have to realize, surely, well, people are going to be buying them, flogging them on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, whatever it might be, an upscale price. Like, how is that fair? And it just frustrates their customers at the end of the day. So why did they not learn anything from the Pokemon trading card game for McDonald's that we spoke about?
Or that, or the London Pokemon Center, which was a travesty.
Yeah,
it just seems like whatever company they're hiring to actually run these events, because obviously, as you say, they're not running themselves.
No,
because we were really worried that was just the way all the staff were there. But we walked up to, they had like a what's it called, TCG Play or something, the Play Lab. That's it.
Yeah,
where you could go in and learn how to play the TCG kind of thing. All the staff there were ex-competitors. Or you'd go up to the side events, and all the judges and stuff there were qualified judges or ex-competitors. All the people working on the prize stands were ex-competitors. It just seemed, for whatever reason, in the Pokemon Center, they just hired people in who didn't have a clue what they were doing, what anything was, and just didn't give a damn.
Ooh.
It was really upsetting, but I got everything that I wanted. I didn't get those character posters, but they were luckily available on the website, so I grabbed those, and they got delivered today. So I'm fine.
Good. It sounds like an absolutely just worldly experience. Good, I can't go, but Maybe next time in 2042 or something. You never know.
You never
I get
know.
lucky. You never know. So I think it's fair to say that the, trying to get the plushies and stuff was quite competitive. So speaking of competitive, should we move on to the Scarlet and Violet competitive play trailer?
Of course. Actually, I'll tell you what. Just before we go into this bit.
Yes.
So talking about terrible staff, this does feed in. It's beautiful. It's actually a really nice segue. So talking about terrible staff, the security were obviously getting bored by day 4 and just wanted to pick fights.
Oh no!
So again, all the days we'd go in, you'd go down these stairs and go around into the big seating area and just find seats, and it was fine. The finals, obviously, there are a lot more people want to come in and watch the finals. We showed up at 8 in the morning. We left Tommy's house at 6, got there at 8 in the morning, walked in, sat down, and was like, "Somebody must sit here all day. We do not move."
Yes.
And there was at one point where I got up, I went to the toilet and came back, and the queue was just going all the way down the hall, out the door, and round the corner. And I was like, I've got a seat. I'm just gonna skip this. I get like, these guys are queuing for the opportunity to go down the stairs, walk across the room, see there's no seating, walk back up the stairs, and join the back of the queue.
Yeah.
That's no chance.
No.
So I walked to the front of the queue, got downstairs, joined my seat. And then after every match had finished, they do like, "Oh, come up, do like your little speech and things like that." And I was recording. I was doing recording all weekend. Me and Lewis were putting a video together. We're still working on it, but there's 170 gigs worth of footage to go through. So trying to get that all uploaded to Google Drive has been a nightmare. But at the end of every match, we were like running down to the front, filming a bunch of stuff, coming back and sitting down. Comes to the second to last match, send Lewis up to the front, and apparently some security guard just palmed him in the chest and was like, "You must stay 5 meters away from the stage at all times. You cannot come any closer than that unless you are media." I was like, bruv, we've been doing this all day.
Yeah. Why now? Yeah.
Yeah, we had like Baker would come back from having a smoke and would like try to get downstairs, and they'd be like, "You can't come in here. You don't have a pass." It's like, I've got a seat. I'm going down to sit with my friends. What are you talking about? No, you must join the back of the queue. It's like, I'm not queuing for 3 hours to go back to a seat I already have. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And the final match finished. Yeah. And I jumped over the barrier because we were sat right in the front row. Jumped over the barrier, ran up to see some of my other mates who were sat in the very, very front row and like craning their necks all the way back to see the screens. I was like, "Come on, let's go get some footage," where they were going to do like the closing ceremony, the awards, and the announcements, which we will come on into a minute. And I've gone up. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have a fairly good camera setup. I was on like a full gimbal and big long lens and things like that, and I had my mic and stuff all set up. So I've stood there, and my mates come up with their little camera, and a security guard just grabbed her by the side and was like, "You don't have a media pass. Go sit down." And like,
they assumed you had a media pass because of the equipment.
I'm not even lying. I stood there and I kind of like just slightly slid it underneath my arm because it's on a big lanyard. You got a big metal pass.
Yes.
Just slid it slightly under my arm because the only difference is the bottom bit is a different color and it says media, press, spectator, whatever. So just slid that under my arm. Just stood there with my big camera. And I've heard this same security guard just go around the back of me and go up to everyone going, "You haven't got the right pass, go sit down. You haven't got the right pass, go sit down. You haven't got the right pass, go sit down." And I'm just stood there like, la da 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 da. And I've noticed some other people who have got like, they are clearly media and they've clocked me and it's like, whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever.
Oh my God, wow. That's fantastic.
So I've got footage of right at the front of this stage, and it was not the greatest experience because there was a smoke machine and lights right in my face, so I'm like tearing up all the way through going, "Just get the shot, it'll be fine.
Just get the shot."
Ishihara standing there, I cannot get the shot, nobody else is gonna get this because I'm the only one who's stood here right now. Really good, but the security sucked. But yes, they did indeed release a trailer for Scarlet and Violet. Before we go into Scarlet and Violet, I will say, because you don't have as much interest in TCG, they're bringing EXs back. Woo!
Oh, okay. Yes, EXs are just those broken cards, right? Like
So,
literally. Go on.
Ish. So you
Ish.
used to have EXs, and then we brought in GXs.
Oh, with the. Sorry if I'm completely wrong again. With EX is the one where you can only use one per battle, like a move.
No. I forget. No, I don't think so. So GXs had GX moves where you could only use one per battle.
Okay.
But the thing is with GX Pokemon as well is, unlike EXs, you didn't have to evolve into them.
Oh. Okay.
So you could have a like
it's
a
Crobat.
So Crobat. I had, because I joined in tag team, so I had Raichu and Raichu GX, which was a basic Pokemon. Despite the fact that they're both evolutions, and obviously it's two Pokemon in one. But that was a basic Pokemon, you just laid it onto the bench. EXs, you do have to evolve up into them.
Okay.
So you used to have EXs, and then we went on to GXs, and then we went on to Vs, which were similar to GXs, but didn't have the GX attack. And then they did V Maxes, which were obviously the Gigantamax Pokemon. They just had so much health and hit really hard. And now we've got V Star, which are similar to GXs. They've got a move that you can use once a turn, but it's not always a move. Sometimes it's an ability instead of an attack. So you can do it without them being in the main position or, ending your turn. So it's they're trying to slow the game down, I feel.
Okay, yeah.
By bringing EXs back, bringing back these Pokemon that you have to evolve up into, but the health is still at 300 plus. These EX Pokemon are apparently supposed to rival Gigantamax Pokemon or VMAX Pokemon as far as health is concerned. So, but they only give up 2 prizes, not 3 prizes. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting step forward for Pokemon TCG. But with all that being said, yes, we can talk about the video game trailer.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think there was a couple of this was a really strange reveal. I guess when did they play this at Worlds? Because this is where it was released, right?
Yeah, it was released at Worlds. That's why a lot of it is to do with like competitive.
The competitive,
stuff.
Right? That makes sense as to why then it is purely focused on the competitive battling, not even mechanics. It's just introducing
items and moves and
pretty much. I guess that the biggest reveal that we got is that it's another one of our lizard Pokemon, one of our dragon types, Cyclizar. So that's how you pronounce it.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Cyclizar.
Cyclizar works, I think. So it's a dragon and normal type.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't reveal a lot else. Is this a split evolution like Cosmoem, however you pronounce it?
Like a Cosmog style into Lunala and Solgaleo.
Depending on which version you are playing, you will get that version of the Pokemon.
I don't know. Part of me feels like this is a bait and switch.
That I'm thinking the same because the only way I can see this being a pre-evolution is you get it almost at the start to kind of show you, okay, this is how you battle, this is how you catch monsters, this is how you use type advantages. Oh, you've graduated school, congratulations. Oh, it's evolving. And the reason I say that is because in all the trailers we've seen, you at no point use this Pokemon to get around. This isn't the ride Pokemon. So I'm a bit unsure what. Like, the only thing I can think of is that, we've got the 2 legendaries in Mirizion and...
Miraidon and Koraidon.
Oh, so I was way off. Miraidon and Koraidon. So, is this the present Pokemon, and then the other 2 are the past and future, maybe? Is this the trio?
I think it's something similar to that. So this is not a legendary Pokemon. I will say that first and foremost, because we have an image.
Has that been confirmed?
We have an image on the Pokemon website of just 2 random trainers riding Cyclizar.
Oh,
so it seems like this is a very common mode of transport across Paldea. And maybe if we're still talking about racing, this is what most people will be riding. And then for our character, it's interesting because we have Miraidon or Koraidon instead. Which again, there was clearly a similarity, and we're clearly supposed to draw a similarity between them. Now, I don't think it's evolution. or at least not that kind of evolution. Maybe it's closer to like real world evolution. You think, T-Rex becomes a chicken?
Yeah.
Koraidon, over many thousands of years, has evolved into Cyclizar. And then over many more thousands of years, Cyclizar will eventually become, in one shape or form, Miraidon. And the fact that we have one of these two ties into the main story of the game, which is all to do with like time and different Pokemon from different eras and things like that coming through. That's where I'm at with it. I think this is not going to be... You're not going to be to catch the Cyclizar and evolve it into Miraidon or Koraidon. I don't think that's possible. I think Miraidon or Koraidon are related to it, but distantly. Think of it like you couldn't evolve a Hisuian Zorua into a modern-day Zoroark. They are different species, but they are related.
Yes. Right, okay. I'm on board with that. That does make sense. So I understand the whole bait and switch and coming from there. What do you think about its design?
I think it's fine. Like, I've already got on, not necessarily on board, but I've already got over the idea of like motorbike lizards. So I think it looks all right. I love its little head. I think it looks cute enough.
Yeah, it just feels like a step backwards in kind of in design, because the other two have such striking designs that really stand out. And then you get introduced to this one, and I just feel like, oh, this is a bit underwhelming, I think is
that not the point, though?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that is just to make the one that you get stand out more. And, oh, mine really is special. Maybe it is. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is something that they've done on purpose.
Yeah, I think it is. And realistically, I'm just fully on this thing of Pokemon are well aware that there are people who will analyze these trailers and analyze them to death. And they've taken what I consider to be like the Marvel approach of, let's show them some stuff that they will read as one way so we can surprise them by flipping it over on them.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. We also got to see a bit more of the HUD, for lack of a better word, the UI of the battle system. Is it growing on you yet?
Weirdly enough, I don't remember seeing it, which means it's less abhorrent to me now. I will say that, like, it didn't stand out to me like it has done previously, where I've looked at it and gone, that looks garbage. So the fact that I don't remember it and don't even remember seeing it means it must be growing on me a little bit. Have they changed it?
No. Sorry. So you see the you see like the thing at the bottom where it says the move that you use and like super effective and stuff. You don't see the actual, when it pops up and you can use like fight, Pokemon, item, run, flee, whatever it is. It doesn't show that, which is interesting that it doesn't. So whether or not that is the case that, what they released in the original trailer isn't the final product, maybe, and they are maybe tweaking it or changing it, which is why it's not shown in this one, to try and distance themselves from what it was shown as and what it will eventually be, when it releases. Who knows? I am a little bit... No matter what they do now, I'm going to be gutted, because I saw someone had like drawn basically how they envisioned that it could work. And what is he? It's what's Persona 5? Have you ever played that?
I haven't played any of the Persona games.
So, okay. So neither have I, but it looked a bit like what I've seen from that, where the camera was slightly behind and off to the side of the trainer, and you could see the Pokemon in front of you, and then all those little fights and stuff were kind of like flowing off the trainer, so boxes around the trainer. And I saw that, and I just fell in love with it. It looked absolutely gorgeous. And I think no matter what they choose now, I'm going to be a bit like, oh, okay, it's not as good as that. And to be fair, what I've seen so far isn't as good as Pokemon Legends Arceus, which that design with the battle system was absolutely fantastic.
Agreed.
Speaking of that, actually, one thing that it looks like we're back to in this is static trainers. So you can't move the trainer around, and it looks like you can't move the player or camera around that you could in Legends Arceus, which I feel personally is a bit of a step backwards, because that was fantastic to really feel like you're in the nitty gritty kind of, this is the middle of a fight, and we're back to Sword and Shield kind of flown around. The Pokemon don't really move.
Yeah, and again, the attacking animation doesn't look as good. The Pokemon aren't making contact. These are not new gripes, but I had hoped they'd kind of improved it by now.
Me too. So this kind of, and the reason I'm bringing it up isn't so much to hate on it, because I do dislike it. I do prefer how it functioned and looked in Legends Arceus, but it's more of I think this is set in stone now. This is what we are getting in terms of this battle system and how it will work. What we did get though is information about a new couple of held items.
Well, first off, new move. If we're talking about Cyclizar, we got a new move on it.
Oh, what was the move?
Shed Tail.
Oh, Shed Tail. This is amazing. I love this move. Like, why is it taking them so long? It makes sense with it being a lizard as well. Do you want to explain to the listeners what it does?
So Shed Tail effectively sets up Substitute and then switches into another Pokemon who still has the Substitute up. So it's effectively a defensive Volt Switch.
Yes.
Now,
it's great.
At least from what I've read, it's a signature move of Cyclizar at the moment, which is a shame. I don't think it will stay a signature move, and I very much see this Pokemon on like Slowpoke in the future.
Yes.
Very much see it on that. A Pokemon that's already said to like lose its tail and things like that. I think a lot of lizard Pokemon could do quite well with it. We're very much expecting to see this in future competitions. It's a very strong move and has a lot of utility. I look forward to it.
Agreed. There's a couple of questions I want to know. One is how much HP actually takes off the Cyclizar.
It'll be a quarter substitute.
But will it though? Because it's an added benefit of a Battle Pass. So is it? Well, I say Battle Pass. That's another question. Let me go back to does it do a quarter or will it do more? Because it's technically two moves in one. It's a substitute and a Battle Pass, or a swap. So how do you? It feels like it's a better version of both those moves, and therefore, what is the drawback of it? So, i.e., losing more. Is it 33% health? I know that it showed their health going down in the trailer, but I don't know how much it went down by.
You've made a good point. I don't know if it's going to act as Battle Pass. I don't know if you're going to be able to set up with it. Because that would be very good all of a sudden.
Yes, because if you just like train up your Cyclizar and you give it a held item that basically allows it to reduce damage, you boost up its EVs so it's like great in defense and special defense.
It's almost definitely going to have Dragon Dance.
Yes, so a couple of Dragon Dances, then you do that. The Pokemon that comes in suddenly is not only boosted in speed and attack, but also is immune to the first attack that you throw at it, which means it can then set up even further. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. It really is. And another question I've got around is priority. Is he the quickest move in the field? Like, is it just normal priority? So it's based on speed. So you can basically shut it down. Like, you can knock it out before it gets a chance to use it. Or like, is it the quickest move? So therefore, you do it, the Pokemon that comes in has got a substitute up, but there's no guarantee the substitute lasts till the next turn because you're attacking with a powerful move or a super effective move that then destroys the substitute. There's more questions, but I do love this move.
So I will correct myself. It uses half of the user's HP.
Okay, I'm happy with that because it feels like it's a good... It needed something to get, because it has the potential to be so broken. It needed something to balance that. So that's going to be interesting. What else we got was a new item, Mirror Herb, which I heard about before I saw it in the trailer.
Really?
And I heard, yes. So I saw it on Twitter already to something like that, and it said that if your opponent boosts a stat, you will get the same stat boost holding this item. I was like, okay, right, I can see how that works, but would I really run that if my opponent just uses something like Home Claws or Dragon Dance? Yeah, you'll get a bit of a boost, but is it going to be beneficial to you? But what they showed in the trailer was Azumarill using Belly Drum. So the opponent got the full boosted attack. But didn't lose its HP. That was great. And I'm thinking about like Shell Smash, for example, in competitive, and White Herb, and you get your stats back and you've still got a boost. This could actually, what it could bring out is people bringing using one of their 4 slots to bring a stat boosting move that only boosts it by 1 to kind of bait out opponents that might run this mirror herb.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll come on to the rest of the things, but I'm loving what they're adding here.
I think they've clearly looked at the meta. They've looked at like how people are playing the game and are adjusting accordingly. Now, Mirror Herb, I think, is going to be more effective in single battles than it will in doubles, because in single battles, if you set up, you win. Which is why I will always argue double battles are better. And especially on a competitive level, double battles are the only way to play. But I think Mirror Herb is a great item. I don't think it's the best item. That has to be Covert Cloak.
Okay, so this protects Pokemon from additional move effects. So is this things like you can't get flinched, frozen, paralyzed?
That's correct. And the way they showed it, and again, being in the arena at the time with a bunch of people who play competitive Pokemon or enjoy watching competitive Pokemon, and seeing Hariyama use Fake Out, and this, I think it was the Cyclizar just be like, but I'm going to attack you back. Everybody went mad. It's going to completely change the game, completely rewrite the formats. It's going to make some moves unplayable, basically. Like, there's no point running them.
Fake Out saw so much action at Worlds.
It's a must run. It's a must run.
Yes. Yeah, because it's guaranteed damage and shuts down an opponent before they can do anything. And this just, because you imagine, because Fake Out is it's one of those moves where it's great if you can pull it off straight at the start of the match and it does help you out, but then it's pretty much useless throughout the rest of the battle unless you swap in and out. So imagine if you've got mons that have this item, you've basically made it so that your opponent only has 3 moves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just shut them down. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it's going to completely change the game. I think there was somebody tweeted, it's like, oh yeah, top 5 items immediately.
Yeah.
They will be run on every single team next year. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other item that was shown was the loaded dice, which make multi-strike moves hit more times.
Which...
because there are abilities that do this, right?
Yeah, Skill Link.
I've seen them.
Skill Link allows, if you have a multi-hit move, it hits every possible multi-hit.
So the only reason I can understand them bringing this item out is because obviously not all Pokemon have that ability. So it's an opportunity to give other Pokemon their chance to shine. So one of the mons that they showed was it Breloom? Using
Breloom, because Breloom has Technician, which ups the power of weaker moves. It uses Seed Bomb? Not Seed Bomb. Bullet Seed.
Bullet Seed.
So it gets the Technician boost. It Terastallizes into a Grass type, which means it got another stab boost from it, and then hits more often. So that's pretty good.
See, we're like, okay, I can guarantee you someone will pull out a strategy to use that just blows us away. Like, wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting tech item. How often it'll get used, I'm not sure. Maybe there'll be a lot more multi-hit moves going in, some that are very good. So it makes it a must run on those.
Definitely. I'm just trying to think what other.
We saw a new hat.
Did we?
Yeah, we got the ghost type hat.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Which is a callback to the ghost from Lavender Tower.
Yes. There's a couple of callbacks, isn't there, with this however you
Terastallise.
Yeah, Terastallise. I'll get there one day.
It's all right. I had to do a video on it. That's the only reason I learned how to say it.
Is that the only reason why? Okay. Like the Pikachu, the flying Pikachu we've had. You know what? Thinking about it, why did we get a fountain for water Pokemon, not like a surfboard?
I have no idea.
Interesting. But
we got one last thing as well.
Loved it. Oh, what else?
Terra Blast. I don't know if you caught this. Now I will give Lewis full credit for this. He called this.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Remind me.
So Terra Blast is a normal type move. It's a TM you'll get, and then it will change typing with your Terastallise type. So whenever you Terastallise, if you have Terra type equipped to your Pokemon, you have a stab move.
So it's a bit like hidden power and secret power, except for there's a lot less experimentation to figure out what that typing is.
And it inflicts damage using the attack or special attack stat, whichever is higher for the user.
Oh, okay. That's interesting as well then.
Because they got rid of hidden power in Sword and Shield.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, hidden power doesn't exist anymore. So this is kind of their substitute for it. And I like it. I like it.
I like it as well because it gives it a bit more credibility for Pokemon that can maybe... So I'm thinking of Dragon Dance that boosts the attack stats, but for some Dragon types, that's not the best stat. However, this kind of overcomes... So I'm thinking of... I know this was a long time ago, but Kingdra, for example, used to have Dragon Dance, but before the Gen 4 split, all its attacks were special. So it didn't actually benefit from any physical Dragon type attacks because there weren't any.
I hadn't even considered anything like that.
Whereas now it's like, okay, you can boost Kingdra's speed and attack, and suddenly, well, I don't need to be running a physical Dragon type attack anymore because I can just use this one.
Yeah, it'll just be a Dragon Terra type, Terrastalize, and then Terra Blast. That's really smart. I like it. I like it a lot.
So it's gonna be interesting to see these items, and obviously these are just the items that they've shown us. It wouldn't surprise me if we get more items or more moves. Funnily enough, there was a video I wanted to do a long time ago, but like it's just finding time to do them. Was like top 5 moves that we want to see in Pokemon, and one of them for me was wouldn't be used in competitive. Is useless in competitive, but in the actual main game, the storyline, having a priority move that goes quicker than items. So I'm thinking Elite Four, you know, when they're spamming hyper potions when they're almost out.
Okay.
And you can use a priority move that will, you know, probably won't be that powerful, but it will get in there before your opponent gets to use an item. Or maybe it doubles in power when your opponent is going to use that. You know, something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what else we get in this game when it comes out later this year.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And I think that wraps up. Like, there's so much more I could talk about of my experience at Worlds, but there'll be a video about it soon. You can watch that instead.
I'm looking forward to watching that. It sounds like it was an absolute journey. By the way, shall we discuss the Pokemon Journey episodes?
We can do. Do you want to make your confession first and foremost?
I've only watched 2, but in my defense, I've been very busy, and I think I'm allowed this 1 week. This 1 week, I'm allowed to just watch.
This man had 1 day of being busy. I had 4. I managed it, and he didn't.
That's the absolute nib.
No, it is a shame because what would have been the 3rd episode of this week has been the one I've been looking forward to you watching the most. Okay. So we'll just have to hold off, and I'll try not to spoil anything for next week.
Okay, please don't. Okay, right, I'm looking forward to that. Because actually, it's funny that you mentioned this because doing these 3 episodes a week, it is great because usually we kind of get one that is almost filler, one that is personal development, and then one that tends to be Ash like building up his score, his rank. So after watching these 2, I was like, well, I kind of know what the next episode's likely going to be. That it's going to be a battle-focused episode. So I'm looking forward to getting around to that. But the 2 episodes I did watch, so the first one was Time After Time, which is a Go-focused episode. It's pure Go. I don't think
Ash didn't even show up.
No, I don't think he did. So it's predominantly a flashback episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which was interesting.
It's a pretty good episode. I think there's a lot of character in there, a lot to like about this one.
Yes.
You can see Go as a little kid. We find out that his catchphrase is apparently from some old song that his dad listened to, which brought me a lot.
That.
Yeah, he's like, he changes up the phrasing slightly, but he does the whole, the future is in the palm of my hand. It's like, that's a bit nerdy. Yeah, don't make me say it again. It's actually from a song that my dad used to listen to.
Oh, how did I miss? I don't know. I missed that. But yeah, so Go is just going on a holiday with the parents. He's going on a nice little vacation. Only, the parents fall asleep. That is a very real thing that used to happen to me all the time. The first thing that my dad wanted to do whenever we got on vacation was have a nap.
Yeah, they go on a journey to Azalea Town.
Yes, which is fun. Just getting the moment I was like, oh, they're going to Azalea Town. I was like, I think I know where this episode's going, because why would you go to Azalea Town in the game? Like, seriously, why would you go to Azalea Town?
Because you want to go and learn how to make Pokeballs from one of the last remaining great smiths.
Potentially. Or the
Ilex
other
Forest.
reason. Oh, I was going to say Slowpoke Well.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. I hadn't even considered that one. Yeah, no, you're right.
But the forest is why you would go, because we all know what Pokemon is lurking in the forest, don't we?
Paris.
So many Parasies. Parasies everywhere, but they can learn Cut, which is quite nice. Also, Celebi's there as well, apparently. Apparently, when it's not time traveling, which opens up a huge can of worms that time travel is in the Pokemon universe and how that works.
There's many movies about it. Like,
oh, is there? Oh,
yes.
Okay. I need to watch them, and then at some
point. We're considering doing that, especially for some episodes going forward. We'll watch like a movie and review it, but not right now. Not right now. We're talking about journeys.
So, a couple of things that happen in this. Go shows a proto Pokedex developed by his parents.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, which I was a bit like, okay, so which is the question? Who invented the Pokedex? Do we know that?
No. Professor Oak gets it as a special delivery.
Yes, because I it was only thinking back now. I was like, oh yeah, Oak created the Pokedex, but then I'm like, but did he? Because like you say, the first thing you do in Gen 1 is you get the Pokedex, and you deliver it to Oak, who then gifts it to you. So is he... And in my head, I always thought, well, he's getting it delivered because he sent off the specifications to get it built. But actually, is that the case? Like, does this confirm that, Go's parents were involved in some way in the Pokedex? Because they have a background in, like, is it like some kind of digital design or software design?
Some kind of computer engineering.
Yes. Which... kind of let's say Go's parents did have a hand in creating the Pokedex. It kind of explains Go's obsession with catching Mons, don't you think?
It would do, yeah, and his obsession with filling out the Pokedex.
Yeah, like I've only just thought about that, and that makes loads of sense. So while Go is exploring, he comes across a couple of Pokemon, as you do. Pineco apparently has no chill and just chases them.
Ariados has no chill and chases them. Blossom, that was one of the greater ones.
It was fantastic. It's so cute, and then it's just his face, like, okay. And so they managed to go off on an adventure, and they try to find this, and we get a little bit of lore that I didn't realize.
This is Go and his newly found friend Horace.
Horace, who best of friends. They're going to be friends for the rest of their life, apparently, and they are discussing how many Pokemon come from space, and I didn't realize it was so many, apparently.
Yeah, no, quite a few Pokemon are said to come from space. Starmie, Clefairy, Jirachi, Rayquaza.
Any of them that you didn't know?
Huh?
Any of those that you didn't know?
No. I'm well aware of all of those.
Starmie was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
It's an interesting one. I don't know if that's one of those just legends rather than fact.
Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, it's just the kids. Like, it's myth, it's legend. And then they started talking about, well, Clefairy, Rayquaza, and Jirachi. And I'm there thinking, yeah, they all do come from space, actually. Does that mean the Starmie thing is real? Like, it does come from space? Don't know. But the big takeaway from this is the friend has gone the next day.
So, yes, Go is chasing after Mew, trying to look for Mew in Ilex Forest. Horace is trying to find Celebi in Ilex Forest. They meet up. It's like, let's go hunt for Pokemon together. It's going to be great. Have this wonderful friendship develop. Use Sunflower to cut down long grass, walk through, stare at the stars together, and promise we're going to meet up here tomorrow because we're friends. And I promise, and I don't break a promise to friends. And Go shows up, and Horace doesn't.
But isn't that just how... I don't know if your holidays were like this as a kid, but that's exactly what it was like. You'd go somewhere for a week, and the first thing you'd say is, oh, how long are you here for? Oh, I'm here for 4 days. Oh, well, we're here for 7. And then you'd have that last day where you play together, and then the next day they're just gone. You never see them again. Like, for the rest of your life, you will never hear from that person again.
Yep.
So that really hit me. I was like, oh, no, Go. I felt sorry for him.
But all the way through, Go is back in Azalea Town, where he is on holiday with his parents again, having these flashbacks, having these like sad memories of this friend who betrayed him and left him all alone. And we find out that this is kind of why he has issues making friends and problems trusting people. And that's why, like, Ash is the only person he's really let himself get close to over the years. And then he finally finds the Ilex Shrine.
Yes. What is there?
A little note from Horace that says, "Sorry, bruv. Tried to, couldn't, was ill in it."
How is that letter lasting so long in a goddamn forest?
No idea.
Like what? Like what? Like, when did this child write this letter? The next day?
Because it's Celebi's shrine, so he dropped it off day one and then teleported through time to then.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a theory for it.
That's not true because it does look aged.
It does. I just imagine like Horace just leaving this letter. This Celebi rocks up back to its house. It's like, what the heck is this? Who is this Horace? Who's Go? Go where?
What a silly name.
But one of the highlights for me, what Pokemon does Horace return with?
He comes back with a Chikorita.
He comes out of his 60s. I was so happy about that. And then obviously they have the conversation, they make up, and Horace explains, I was just really ill.
I was just ill. I had a fever. Sad times.
Yeah.
Which again, like, been there.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh no, I wanted to meet up with someone and they promised they'd be here, but they didn't show up. And this is obviously before the days of like mobile phones. Like, you kids who didn't grow up in the 90s will never understand the struggle of not knowing someone's home phone number and just being stood up. And just being like, well, I guess they just didn't like me.
You know, having to knock on and go, can somebody come out to play? And it's like, no. The bouncer's like, no, they're not coming out to play. And that's it.
You go around to their house. Hi, can we both come around here? Yeah, that's fine. All right, we need to run around to my house now and ask my mom if it's all right for us to come around here, and then we'll come back here afterwards.
No. It's so easier nowadays, isn't it?
And then the final thing we get to see is not just one Celebi, but two.
And one of them is shiny. So confirm that they're like shiny, even though it's a mythical. There is more than one shiny. More than one shiny, more than one mythical Celebi. So there's multiples of that, because that's always been a question that's nagged at me. Like, which Pokemon are there, legendary, mythical, that there are only one of, and how many there are multiples of? So this confirms that Celebi isn't unique. There are multiple Celebi.
Well, no, even Mewtwo, who like I would have considered to be a one of a kind because it was created, is in the anime confirmed to have at least two.
Is it? Wait, what?
The movie, so the Mewtwo that we know from the first movie and had the follow-up and has showed up in the series a couple of times, is a male, or at least speaks with a male voice.
Yeah.
And yet there is a Mewtwo that fought Genesect in a movie.
It's when it Mega Evolved.
When it Mega Evolved, that wasn't the same Mewtwo.
What? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the same Mewtwo.
The huge can of worms that is. Oh, I want to know more now.
So, yes, very interesting. So, no, there are multiple legendary Pokemon. There are multiple mythical Pokemon. They do breed, just not in captivity. And we've seen babies. We've seen like a baby Lugia, I think, in the anime and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's be honest with you. The reason the legendaries don't breed in the games is because they've got, usually, a pervy old couple that are just looking outside the window going, go on, do it.
I want to see an egg be laid for once.
Go on. It's just freaky old men doing that. Right, on that note, should we move on to the next episode? Trade, Borrow, and Steal.
As quick as possible, please.
Okay. Yeah, from that segue. So, Train is a trading Pokemon, and I'll tell you where I expected this to go. I expected it to be similar to Ash's journey back in the day on, was it the SSN?
When the Butterfly and the Raticate.
Yes.
Butterfree, not Butterfly.
Butterfree.
Sorry.
I expected it to go there, and I'm surprised but glad that it didn't. It goes down a very different route, including this, is it Cricketina Kylie?
Yeah. She looks like a Cricketune for some reason.
Did you meet people like this at Worlds? Can you confirm?
No, we saw B, we saw Leon, we saw a bunch of people dressed up as gym trainers, a couple of Cynthia, but no, nobody dressed up as Pokemon. Oh no, that's a lie. Okay. There was one Mimikyu.
Oh, was there? Oh, would that be? I don't know if that'd be freaky or not. To be quite honest with you, full size Mimikyu.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. We'll leave it at that.
Interesting. Yeah. So Ash just challenges it straight off the Ash isn't just not messing around, challenges it to 1v1 Pikachu versus Heracross.
Yeah. Love to see Heracross. Great Pokemon, despite what Ben thinks.
What Wait, what have I said about Heracross?
You didn't initially think it was a good Pokemon, and then it bodied you, and you were like, oh no, you bodied somebody. Was it Tommy?
I can't remember, to be yeah, it was. It was in one of the cage locks, wasn't it? It was in the Heart Gold Soul.
And you're like, everybody's screaming at me, telling me Heracross is like a really good Pokemon, and I've never used it.
Because I've always thought it was just pure bug, and it's not. It's bug fighting, isn't it? Yes, it's coming back to me, especially in the later games where it learns like Mega Horn and stuff like that. So this episode showcases like why people love Heracross, because Ash is on the back foot, and the only reason he wins isn't because of power. It's through a combination of attacks, Electro Web and Iron Tail, to knock it out. So Ash showing, he's more than just, what's the word I'm looking for? He's got brains.
Yeah, there is strategy there. He does know when to retreat, and he does know how to play off, like even when his back's up against the wall and he's on the back foot kind of thing.
And Ash is now rank 890, but that's not the core story in this episode, is it?
No, Cricketina wants a pincer and is looking to trade with Go for his pincer, because Go is apparently the bug king of Kanto, which is
apparently so
a horrific name and would never like to be associated with that. But and you know what? I'm very glad that he did it early, of just going, actually, I don't want to trade my pincer away.
Yes, agreed.
Because we didn't have to have the repeat of that episode from so long ago. If you trade it and then you're sad that you trade it and you trade it back.
Yes,
exactly. Which again is where I thought it was going to go as well. But no, he's like, look, it's my pincer. I like my pincer. I'm not going to trade it away. What we can do as we're in Kanto is go catch you a pincer. Would you like that?
That was so nice of them. It shows just how caring they are. And I know we've seen how caring these two characters can be, but it's good just to really reiterate that, I think.
Yeah, they are sweet kids. God bless them.
They definitely are. And they create laws to lure bug Pokemon. And one of the things I did love is where they're putting out the laws, and there's like a single frame where they just catch Pinsir and Heracross just eating it. Like, they're not even putting it out. They are just eating it. And I absolutely loved it. But one thing that they do manage to lure is Jesse and James.
Yeah, they catch Team Rocket with their sweet snacks.
They're not looking in a good way, are they?
No, apparently Morpeko has been raiding their hideout and eating all of their food.
It's just, I'm glad they brought this Morpeko back, because one of the previous episodes, they got booted away. And then I was like, oh, okay, I thought this was going to be their Pokemon, but this kind of reaffirms that it's just not left them alone. It is just causing mischief for them. It's preventing them from eating, to the point where they've had to leave the hideout to try and catch food. And it's just, they look in such a bad way.
They do look just famished.
It's just brilliant. And obviously it turns into a double battle, which I don't really remember, other than Meowth takes an absolute beating, because the Pokemon am I remember this correctly? The Pokemon Team Rocket originally summoned just end up eating the
sweet snacks.
Yes,
yeah, because they pull out two bug types. I think it's a Scolipede and a Drapion. And they're just more interested in the food.
The food. So Meowth has to step in, and Meowth just takes an absolute beating.
Straight up just gets bodied.
Poor Meowth. It's not a fighter at all. But what we do get to see is a little bit of love blossoming, don't we?
Yeah. Luckily. So it goes Pinsir. I think I remember telling you this a couple of weeks ago. You were like, oh, go call it Pinsir. I don't think that's really going to come back. I was like, just you wait.
Yeah. Just you wait. The thing that I loved is just how anime the Heracross voice was. Like, it goes all deep voiced. Yeah, it's just brilliant. Just like, this is the comedy and the animation has been on point this season. I'm glad this is the season that I came back to watch Pokemon anime. It's just been fantastic.
It's been very good. So yes, goes bashful Pinsir, falls in love with Heracross, and then they helps Cricketina catch another Pinsir. And Cricketina is still happy enough. Go was just going to give her to Pinsir, but no, she's like, look, I will trade my Heracross to you. I have many more Heracross. Fear not. And let's face facts. We can't separate these two now. They are so cute together. So we will do this trade. I've got my pincer. You've got your hair cross. And everybody lives happily ever after. Very, very sweet little episode.
It's a very nice episode. And the next one, we'll come back to next week. I do.
Oh,
looking forward to
it.
What do you fancy doing now, Conor?
I fancy playing a game and seeing if you can beat my score of 2. 2 is the record so far.
2 is your record. Perfect. In front of me, in front of Conor, he has 3 Pokemon with 3 Pokedex entries each, and I have to try and spot the fake entry. So, Conor, take us away.
So, starting off, we've got Venusaur.
Ooh.
Dex entry number 1. It is able to convert sunlight into energy. As a result, it is more powerful in the summertime. Number 2. The flower on its back catches the sun's rays. The sunlight is then absorbed and used for energy.
Okay.
And then number 3. When threatened, it releases a pungent smell from the flower on its back. The scent deters those engaged in battle.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of, I think, facts between all of them. I think there's elements in all of them that are correct. In terms of the fake Pokedex, I want to say it's either 1 or 3. I know that it does release something from its back, but I don't recall ever seeing a Pokedex entry where it talks about the Pokemon in battle. So I'm going to go for number 3.
Okay, number 3.
Yes.
Is indeed the fake entry.
Oh, okay.
So there is a Pokedex entry that talks about it releasing a smell from its back that affects those it's in battle with.
Right.
But it says that it's a very sweet aroma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Venusaur releases a very nice aroma from its back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I knew it released something, but I thought it was like a bad
Well, it's a
smell.
poison type, right? So you'd think it'd be nasty, but no, apparently it's a very sweet-smelling aroma. And it's quite pleasant and calms the emotions of the Pokemon it's in battle with.
Nice.
So
Okay, perfect. Right.
Our second
start.
Pokemon, Blastoise.
Oh.
So number 1, the cannons on its back can shoot jets of water with enough force to cut through large boulders. Number 2, it deliberately makes itself heavy so it can withstand the recoil of the water jets it fires. Number 3, once it takes aim at its enemy, it blasts out water with even more force than a fire hose.
I'm going to say number 2.
Okay, it is actually number 1.
Oh, okay. That was the one I was confident on. I swear I've read somewhere they can cut through something. It
cuts
steel?
through steel.
That's it. Right. Okay.
No, there is no comment on large boulders at all, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what the third Pokemon's going to be?
Are you doing what I did the other week where I say Charizard, it's not, it's like a Weedle or something?
Would I do that to you?
Maybe. I don't know.
Who do you think it's going to be?
It's Charizard. It's not Charizard though, is it?
It's Gastrodon.
I knew that all.
Now, there is a theme. Blastoise 1.
Yes.
Venusaur 1.
Yep.
Gastrodon 1.
Okay.
There is a theme.
Well, I like
So,
that. Okay.
Gastrodon. These are some of the best Pokedex entries I've ever read, by the way. Go back and read Gastrodon's Pokedex entries. They're insane.
Okay.
It has a pliable body without any bones. If any part of its body is torn off, it grows right back. Number 2. A relative of Shelder and Cloyster. This ocean dweller sometimes comes onto land in search of food. Number 3. It feeds upon plankton whilst in the sea, which is where it derives its color. The different plankton available result in altering pigmentation.
Oh my, what? Okay, I haven't got it. This is basically just, I want to say flip of a coin. It's not a flip of a coin because there's only 2 sides, but you know what I mean. I'm just going to pick a random number between 1 and 3, and I hope I get it right. I'm number 1.
No, it does indeed have 0 bones in its body.
What?
It can apparently grow body parts back if they're torn off.
Oh, wow.
It is also apparently related to Shelder and Cloyster, and in ancient times used to be covered in a hard shell. But it does not, in fact, derive its color from the plankton it eats. So number 3 was the fake one. So you got 1 out of the 3 this week.
I'll take 1 out of 3. As long as I don't get 0, I'm okay with it. But But wow, that last one was fantastic, Conor.
Oh, Gastron's got some really, really good Pokedex entries. Like, I was very tempted to include 3 real Pokedex entries because all of them sounded fake.
I mean, all of those, each of them, I was like, any of these could be fake. So I'm gonna go away and have a look at its Pokedex entries just to. I'm really curious now. I'm really curious. So, well done, Conor. You bested me. But next week I'll be taking this back. I'm afraid. I'm gonna try and get you back down to 0.
I see how it is. But for now, I'm on top.
You are. Shall we move on to letters and comments?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we got one this week from somebody who I think has been binging our podcast. So thank you, Taylor. And I'm sorry if I butcher your surname or name that's on YouTube. Taylor Meglio, I think, who was asked, "What is your favorite kind of video to collab on?"
That's a very interesting comment. That's not really to do with Pokemon, but more to do with us. I like it.
I like it as well.
Do you have an answer for this?
Yeah, I do. I started YouTube a long time ago. It was about 4 years ago, and I only started doing collabs maybe 2 years into it. I think my first collab was probably 2020, very early 2020, and for me, it's just the race format, like just going from start to finish. Whoever manages to beat the champion first wins. And the reason I like those type of formats is because I'm quite good at it, because I play very aggressively in terms of, okay, I don't need a full team of 6. I just need to go out into the wild. I need to find 2, maybe 3 Pokemon that have enough diversity and moveset and not shared weaknesses, so I can just rush ahead to the end. And it tends to play out quite well for me. But also, when I've been playing with British Eagle, when we do a race format, you don't typically share each other's screens, which means there's a lot of mind games going on, and I just love that kind of chaos. And I understand that's not for everybody. I understand some people like, be able to see what their opponent's doing. In that kind of format, I prefer not to. I love the mind games. I know it's not for everybody, but yeah, thinking back to some of those first couple of collabs that I did with British Eagle were fantastic. And I'm thinking when we did Pokemon Crystal, first one to beat Red won, and ultimately the only reason I lost that by 20 seconds was because I forgot to go back to Professor Oak, who unlocks Mount Silver for you as a result of mind games, and it was just fantastic. What about yourself?
So I'm not gonna lie, and it may sound like a cop-out answer, but it's actually like this podcast, or the Pokemon quiz that we did before.
Oh, I love that.
Just because I don't have to do as much preparation for it. I don't have to. So, for instance, I've done like collabs and theory videos now, where it's writing lots of scripts, getting people together, doing lots of recording, sending stuff backwards and forwards. It's a lot of work, lot of reward for it, but it's a lot of work. And when you do gaming collabs, it's weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of work. Whereas these kind of things, you show up, you have a chat about Pokemon, and then that's it. And it's just so enjoyable for me to just have an open conversation about this franchise that I love. That this really is my favorite kind of collab to do.
It's just so, I want to say easy. Easy is one of those words that I think some people think it's a negative, but in this case, it's a real positive that, each week we only really need to come up with a couple of Pokedex entries, watch a couple of episodes, figure out a topic, and we don't put typically a load of research into the topics because we're so well versed in Pokemon that we can just discuss things and we pretty much know what we're talking about, or at least we can pull on some kind of experience. And this podcast, I'd been wanting to do a podcast for a long time before I reached out to Conor. And I did think, how am I going to fit this in with everything else? And you know what? From start to finish, the whole process, I don't know about you, probably takes, 4 hours. And that includes, recording, uploading, pulling together a bit of a loose script, watching the episodes. I know it probably takes a bit more work for you because obviously you do the video, the thumbnail, and the upload.
The editing does take quite a bit longer, but I'm getting better at it, and I'm getting quicker, and I've got most of my audio presets all arranged now. So like last week, I just dropped a bottle. I'll try and cut that out. Last week I did this the day I was leaving to go to Tommy's to stay over there. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll wake up early in the morning, and it took me like 2 hours. That's the quickest I've ever edited these. It's getting better and better, and it's getting simpler and simpler. And again, I look forward to it every week.
Good. That's always good to hear. I do love that, and I love the format that we've gotten into, and the fact that we haven't just looked at what other podcasts are out there and gone, oh, we'll do what they're doing. It feels like it's our podcast, and I absolutely love it. If you've got a comment or question, you can reach us by leaving a comment on our podcast on YouTube or by emailing goldenrodpod@gmail.com. Conor, what have you got coming up, in the next couple of weeks then?
Soon is the answer.
Soon.
We are going to put together some kind of my experience at Worlds video. That's going to take a little while because editing and it's just going to take a while. I've got a couple of theories that I'm going to work on, one of which we half touched on today, but I haven't got any of that written out yet, so I don't want to say something that's not necessarily true, or I might change my mind. But watch this space.
Okay, looking forward to it. As for me, literally yesterday, as of recording this, I recorded episode 1 of my latest series with British Eagle, funnily enough. We're doing an X and Y 3v3 cage lock, which has gotten off to an absolute start. I'm not going to spoil the starter, but it's probably one of the most broken starters you can get, so I'm very happy.
3v3?
Yes, so it's a team battle. So instead of both of you send out one Pokemon, you have a team of 3 that you go into a cage match with. So you rotate them in and out. So it's not like ours where all 3 Pokemon are on screen at once. You rotate in and out of them depending on, if your opponent sends out a fire type, you might go, oh, okay, my grass type, I need to swap that out to a water type. And the only reason we did it is because I just got a bit sick and tired of 1v1 cage matches where you both send out.
So you've not got 6 creators involved.
No.
Okay,
there's just the 2.
Sorry.
Just the 2 of us. But I'm not going to lie, the whole 3v3 thing on the thumbnail is a bit intentional because hopefully then it might get picked up by other people going, ooh, what's this? There's multiple people. Oh, okay, it's not multiple people, there's 2, but okay, the chemistry is quite good and, the overlay's quite good. So there was a little bit of that when I came up with the logo and the name. I was like, okay, maybe I can capitalize on the YouTube algorithm in some way. But recorded episode 1, recording more tomorrow, so that's been an absolute blast. And my 15 minutes to beat the Elite Four, build a team to beat the Elite Four. Episode 1 is on my channel. I just need to publish it, but I'm waiting until I've got all 3. I've recorded episode 2, which I need to edit, so I'm working on that at the moment. So I want to release all 3 of them at once, just to kind of see if that helps maybe one of them pop off or, bring new people to the channel. So I've got a lot going on. But it's good now that the wedding's kind of out the way of, because it frees up a bit more of my time to do this. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, good on you, mate.
And that's the show for this week. If you've gotten this far, you're just a top dollar, aren't you? Conor, where can we find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel at Captain Fidget or on Twitter at CapFidget.
Perfect. And I'm Ben. You can find me as Professor Hoenn on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. As for the Goldenrod Podcast, you can find us on the usual platforms. Search for Goldenrod Podcast on YouTube or on your usual podcast app. Leave a like on YouTube or a 5-star review if you're listening as a podcast. We'll be back next Friday for another week of Pokemon podcast content. See ya.
I was wondering if it was going to happen. Amazing.